Admiral Tejo was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started going off. He did not rush. After 20 years in space, he had learned that most alarms were not worth spilling good coffee over. "Sir," called Yuna from the communications station. "We have 300 unknown ships dropping out of hyperspace. They are big, really big." Tejo walked over to the main screen, still holding his cup. The Soul's Pride was alone in this sector, doing routine mapping work. Now the screen showed massive ships arranged in perfect battle formation. Each ship was the size of a small city. "They are sending a message," Yuna said. "Let me hear it." The voice that came through the speakers was deep and scary. It spoke in perfect Korean, which was strange. "Unknown vessel, you have entered territory claimed by the Galactic Dominion. We are the masters of 847 star systems. Surrender now or face destruction." Tejo took another sip of his coffee. "Yuna, open a channel." "Channel open, sir." "Hello there," Tejo said in a friendly voice. "This is Admiral Tejo of the Terran ship Soul's Pride. Did you guys want to play war games? That is actually pretty cool. We were getting bored out. Here." There was silence from the alien ships. Yuna looked confused. "Sir, I think they are serious about the whole surrender thing." "Oh," said Tejo. "Well, that changes nothing. Wu Jin, are you listening to this?" From the engine room, Engineer Wu Jin's voice came over the ship's intercom. "Yes, sir. Want me to start a betting pool on how long they keep talking before they actually do something?" "Good idea. I bet 20 credits they talk for at least 10 more minutes." The alien voice came back, sounding angry now. "You mock the power of the Dominion. We have destroyed entire civilizations. Our weapons can crack planets. You will surrender or die." Yuna pressed a button to mute their transmission. "Sir, they have 300 ships, we have one." "Yes, but look at those ships," Tejo said, pointing at the screen. "They are huge and slow. All that armor and decoration. Those are parade ships, not fighting ships." Pilot Minsu spoke up from his station. "Sir, their formation is textbook stuff. No flexibility at all. My little sister could fly around them." "Your little sister is 12, Yuna said. "Exactly my point." Tejo opened the channel again. "Sorry about that. We were just admiring your ships. They are very pretty, very shiny. But if you want to fight, we should probably get started. Do you have snacks? This might take a while and someone forgot to pack lunch." From the back of the bridge, Navigation Officer Kyung-soo raised his hand. "That was me. Sorry. I can make sandwiches later." The alien fleet began moving forward. Their ships stayed in perfect formation, like they were in a parade. It looked impressive, but Tejo had been in real fights. This looked like something from a history book. "Minsu, take us out," Tejo said. "Yes, sir." "Evasive pattern 7? Let's start with pattern 3. No need to show off yet." The Soul's Pride moved like a dancer. It was not a big ship, but it was fast and smart. Human ships were built to fight, not to look scary. Every system was designed for one thing: winning battles. The Dominion ships opened fire. Massive energy beams shot out, lighting up space. But they were aiming where the human ship had been, not where it was going. "Wow," Minsu said, dodging another wave of fire. "Their targeting system is really bad. Are they even trying?" "I think they are used to fighting people who stay still," Tejo said. "Wu Jin, what is our weapon status?" "All systems ready, sir." Though honestly, this feels like cheating. "How so?" "Well, they are flying in a straight line, not changing speed, and their shields are designed to look pretty, not work well. It is like playing a game on easy mode." Yuna was monitoring the enemy communications. "Sir, they are very confused. Their commander keeps asking why we are not staying still to fight properly." "Tell them we never learned proper space manners," Tejo said. The Soul's Pride spun around the enemy formation. It was not running away. It was hunting. One by one, it picked off the Dominion ships. Each shot was precise. Human weapons did not waste energy on flashy displays. They just broke things very efficiently. "Sir," Minsu said, "I am getting requests from the live stream chat. People want to see some fancy flying." "Live stream?" Taeho asked. Oh yeah, Kyung-soo started broadcasting this to Earth. We have about 2 million viewers now. Taeho shrugged. Give them a show, but be safe. Min-soo grinned. The Soul's Pride suddenly accelerated straight at the largest enemy ship. At the last second, it spun sideways and flew along the ship's hull, firing continuously. The Dominion dreadnought broke apart like a toy. The comments from Earth were flooding in. Most people were treating it like entertainment. Some were making jokes about the aliens' poor flying skills. A few were taking bets on how long the fight would last. Sir, Yuna said, the enemy commander wants to talk. Put him on. The alien voice was different now. Less confident. Human ship, your tactics are unusual. You fight without honor. We fight to win, Taeho replied. Honor does not stop people from dying. You cannot defeat the entire Dominion. We have thousands of ships. That is nice. Are you going to send them all at once, or do we have to wait? There was another long silence. Woojin's voice came from the engine room. Sir, I am reading massive power buildups from the remaining ships. I think they are going to try ramming us. Min-soo? On it, sir. The human ship danced between the charging Dominion vessels. The aliens flew straight and fast like missiles, but missiles could not change direction. The Soul's Pride led them into each other, watching as the enemy ships crashed together in bright explosions. When the light faded, only one Dominion ship was left. It was not moving. Yuna, see if anyone is alive over there. Yes, sir. They are requesting permission to surrender. Taeho finished his coffee. It had gotten cold during the fight. Tell them to come aboard. We should probably talk. 20 minutes later, 3 alien beings stood in the Soul's Pride's conference room. They were tall and thin with blue skin and 4 arms. They looked very upset. The leader spoke first. I am Sub-Commander Velketh of the Dominion 3rd Fleet. You have destroyed 299 ships. Yes, Taeho said. Would you like some coffee? The alien stared at him. Coffee? It is a drink. Makes you feel better. You offer us refreshments? After destroying our fleet? Well, you did attack us first, Yuna pointed out, but that is finished now. Velketh sat down heavily. He looked confused and tired. In 800 years of conquest, no one has ever offered us coffee after a battle. How sad, Taeho said, pouring 3 cups. Fighting is hard work. Everyone needs coffee afterward. The aliens tried the coffee, they seemed to like it. I do not understand, Velketh said. You defeated our entire fleet, but you treat us like guests. Why would we treat you badly? Taeho asked. The fight is over, now we can talk. But we came to conquer you. Yes, and it did not work, so now we try something else. Woojin entered the room carrying a plate of sandwiches. Sorry about lunch being late. I made extra for our guests. The aliens stared at the sandwiches like they had never seen food before. This is very strange, Velketh said. Our intelligence said humans were a primitive species. We might be primitive, Taeho agreed, but we are good at fighting. Also, we make excellent sandwiches. Yuna was monitoring Earth communications. Sir, the news networks want interviews. Also, the university wants to offer our guests scholarships to study human culture. Scholarships? Velketh asked. Free education, Taeho explained. Humans like to learn about new people, even people who try to conquer us. The alien leader looked around the room. Humans were eating sandwiches and discussing the battle like it had been a sports game. No one seemed angry or afraid. What happens to us now? Velketh asked. That depends, Taeho said. Do you want to keep fighting, or would you like to try being friends? Velketh thought for a long moment. I think we would like to try friends. Good choice, said Woojin, offering him another sandwich. News of the battle spread fast through both human space and the Dominion Empire. On Earth, people watched the recordings and shrugged. It was interesting, but not surprising. Humans had always been good at fighting. The betting sites started, taking odds on what would happen next. In the Dominion capital, things were different. The Council of War met in emergency session for 3 straight days. They had never lost an entire fleet before, not to anyone. Supreme War Commander Kralveth stood before the High Emperor, trying to explain the impossible. Your Majesty, the humans fight unlike anything we have seen. They do not follow proper battle rules. What rules? The Emperor asked. They do not stay in formation. They do not announce their attacks. They do not even seem afraid of dying. And you lost 300 ships to 1 human vessel. Yes, Your Majesty. The Emperor was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. Send the Grand Armada, all 3,000 ships. If 1 human ship can defeat 300 of ours, we will send 10 for every 1 of theirs. Back in human space, Admiral J1 was reading intelligence reports over breakfast. The report said the Dominion was mobilizing their largest fleet in history, 3,000 ships, including their best commanders and newest weapons. So Young, he called to his communications officer, send a message to Earth, ask if anyone wants to come watch this. Sir? Well, it sounds like it will be quite a show. Shame to waste it. The message reached Earth and spread through social media. Within hours, it was trending. Alien invasion became the most popular hashtag. Memes started appearing. Most of them made fun of the aliens for needing 3,000 ships to fight 12 humans, because that was all Admiral J1 had, 12 ships. The Soul's Pride, 3 research vessels, 5 patrol craft and 2 cargo haulers that happened to be in the area. Captain Kyung-ho commanded the research station Busan Station. When he heard about the approaching alien fleet, his first thought was not fear, it was opportunity. Hey One, he said to his weapons officer, start setting up cameras. This is going to be the best documentary footage ever. Documentary, sir? Oh yes. The day 3,000 aliens learned about human military doctrine. We will be famous. Hey One started placing recording devices around the station. Soon, multiple camera angles were streaming live to Earth. The audience grew quickly. Universities started offering extra credit to students who watched and wrote reports. Dr. Lee Jin, a graduate student studying alien cultures, was taking notes frantically. This is amazing, she told her professor. We are watching an entire empire make the same mistake twice, but bigger. What mistake is that? They think that bigger means better. They think numbers matter more than tactics. On Busan Station, Captain Kyung-ho was explaining the situation to his live stream audience. He had become an accidental celebrity, with millions of viewers tuning in to hear his analysis. Today, we are going to see if these Dominion folks learned anything from their last defeat, he said, adjusting a camera. My guess is no. Big empires are usually bad at learning new things. Engineer Da-un was reading comments from the live stream. Sir, people are taking requests. They want to see specific maneuvers. What kind of requests? Someone wants to see the spin and shoot move. Another person asked if we can write our names in space with laser fire. We will see what we can do. Kyung-ho laughed. The Dominion Grand Armada arrived exactly on schedule. 3,000 ships dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. It was the most impressive military display in galactic history. The ships stretched across space like a metal ocean. On Earth, people watched in amazement. Not because they were scared, but because it was beautiful. The alien ships were works of art, decorated with symbols and colors that caught the light of nearby stars. Wow, someone commented on the live stream. They really went all out for this. The Dominion commander sent the usual message: surrender or die. The human response was becoming predictable. Thank you for the light show, Admiral J1 replied. Very impressive. Did it take long to get all those ships in the right position? You will surrender now or face the combined might of the Dominion. Actually, we were wondering if we could get some action shots for our documentary. Could you spread out a bit more? The formation is too tight for good camera work. There was confusion in the alien ranks. Their intercepted communications showed commanders asking each other what a documentary was and whether they should spread out for better camera angles. Sir, So Young reported to Admiral J1, I think they are actually considering it. Of course they are. They want to look impressive. That is their whole problem. The battle began differently this time. The Dominion had learned that humans were fast and unpredictable, so they tried a new strategy, surrounding them completely, attacking from all directions at once. It was a good plan. Against most enemies, it would have worked perfectly. But humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years before they ever went to space. They had learned every possible way to kill efficiently. The concepts of being outnumbered or surrounded were just tactical problems to solve. Captain Kyung-ho's voice stayed calm as his station came under attack from 50 different directions. As you can see, the aliens are trying an encirclement strategy. This is actually textbook human counter-tactics. Hey 1, demonstrate pattern Delta 7. The station's defense grid came alive. Unlike the alien weapons, which were designed to look threatening, human weapons were designed to work. The defense lasers moved like surgical instruments, finding weak points in alien armor with mechanical precision. The key, Kyung-ho explained to his audience while explosions lit up space around him, is that they are still thinking of this as a show of force. We are thinking of it as problem-solving. One of the patrol craft, commanded by Captain Dong-hyun, found itself facing an entire sector of the alien fleet. 200 ships focused their fire on his small vessel. Instead of retreating, Dong-hyun did something unexpected. He flew straight at them. Navigation, plot a course through their formation, weapons, continuous fire on full automatic. Engineering, give me everything you have. Sir, his navigator asked, are we really flying into 200 enemy ships? They are expecting us to run away, Dong-hyun replied. People always expect the same thing they would do. The small human ship dove into the alien formation like a knife through cloth. The Dominion ships, arranged for maximum visual impact, could not fire without hitting each other. The human craft cut through them, its weapons carving a path of destruction. On the live stream, people were cheering. Someone had started keeping score. The betting sites were updating odds in real time. This is incredible, Dr. Lee Jin told her professor. They brought 3,000 ships, but they are still fighting like they brought 300. What do you mean? Same formation, same tactics, same assumptions. They made their fleet bigger but not smarter. The turning point came when the Dominion tried their ultimate tactic, ramming. If human ships were too fast to hit with weapons, the aliens would crash into them with pure mass. It was a desperate move, and it backfired completely. Human ships had been built to fight in 3 dimensions. They could move up, down, forward, backward, and spin in any direction. When thousands of alien ships tried to ram them, the humans simply moved out of the way. The result was chaos. Dominion ships crashed into each other in massive chain reactions. Explosions spread through their fleet like a disease. Oh no, Captain Kyung-ho said, watching the disaster unfold. I think they just destroyed most of their own fleet. His live stream audience was torn between laughter and sympathy. The comments ranged from, "This is hilarious," to, "I actually feel bad for them." When the battle ended, only a few dozen Dominion ships were left. They were not firing anymore. They just sat in space, apparently too confused to move. Admiral Jae-won opened a communication channel to the surviving aliens. "Is everyone okay over there?" That looked painful. The response came from the Dominion's Supreme War Commander himself. "Human Admiral, we do not understand. How did you defeat 3,000 ships with 12? "We did not defeat 3,000 ships, Jae-won replied gently. "You defeated 3,000 ships, we just stayed out of the way." There was a long silence. "We wish to speak," the alien commander said finally. "Not to surrender, not to negotiate. Just to understand." "Of course," Jae-won said. "Understanding is always good. Would you like to come aboard for coffee? We have sandwiches too." The Supreme War Commander's voice sounded tired. "Coffee? It is a tradition. After every battle, we drink coffee and talk about what happened. It helps everyone feel better. We would like that." "Good. Bring whoever you want. We have a big conference room." As the alien shuttles approached the human ships, the live stream audience watched in fascination. The comments were changing tone. Instead of jokes about alien incompetence, people were starting to ask serious questions. Why do they keep making the same mistakes? How did they conquer 847 star systems? If they fight this badly, what kind of enemies were they fighting before? Dr. Li Jin was furiously taking notes. She was starting to understand something important. The Dominion was not bad at war. They were bad at fighting humans. For 800 years, they had conquered species that fought the same way they did. The conference room on the human flagship was not what Supreme War Commander Kralveth expected. He had attended many war councils in his long career. They were always formal affairs, with rigid protocols and careful displays of power. This room had coffee machines and a sandwich bar. "Please sit anywhere you like," Admiral J-Wan said, gesturing to comfortable chairs arranged in a circle. "Do you need help with the coffee machine?" Kralveth stared at the human admiral. He was young, probably less than 50 years old. In the Dominion, only ancient warriors commanded fleets. Yet this young human had just defeated the largest military force in galactic history, and now he was offering refreshments. "Admiral," Kralveth said carefully, "we must discuss terms." "Terms?" "Of our surrender." Jaewon looked confused. "Why would you surrender? The fighting is over." "But you won." "We lost." "Yes, but that does not mean anyone has to surrender. It just means we learned some things about each other." Kralveth's 3 companions, all high-ranking Dominion officers, looked just as confused as he felt. In 8 centuries of conquest, surrender had always followed defeat. It was the natural order. "What do you want from us?" asked Sub-Commander Telmara. "Want?" Jaewon thought for a moment. "Well, we would like to know more about your empire. How did you build all those ships? The engineering is impressive, even if the tactics need work." You want to discuss engineering?" "Of course. Those hull designs are beautiful, inefficient for combat, but beautiful. Our ship designers would love to study them." Captain Kyung Ho, who had been invited to the meeting as the official documentary filmmaker, was recording everything. His live stream now had 50 million viewers across human space. The comments were fascinating. "Are they seriously talking about ship design?" one viewer wrote. "This is the weirdest peace negotiation ever," wrote another. Dr. Li Jin was watching from Earth, taking notes for her thesis. She was beginning to understand something important about both species. Humans treated war as a problem to solve, then moved on to other problems. The Dominion treated war as a way of life. "Commander Kralveth," she said over the communication link, "may I ask how your empire usually handles defeated enemies?" The alien commander looked at the screen. "Usually, they become subjects. They provide resources and soldiers for further conquests. And what happens to the conquerors? We move on to the next target. The empire must always grow." "But what if you do not want to conquer anyone else?" Kralveth stared at her like she had asked what would happen if gravity stopped working. "Not conquer? That makes no sense. We are the Dominion. Conquest is our purpose." "But why?" Because we are strong. So are humans," Dr. Li Jin pointed out. "But we do not conquer people." "Then what do you do?" "We explore. We learn. We build things. We make art. We have fun." The alien officers looked at each other. This conversation was going in directions they had never imagined. Admiral Jae-Wan refilled his coffee cup. "Commander, can I ask you something? Do you enjoy being at war all the time?" "Enjoy?" Kralveth repeated the word like it was foreign. "War is duty, honor, purpose. But do you like it?" The question hung in the air for a long time. Finally, Sub-Commander Telmara spoke quietly. "I have been fighting for 90 years. I do not remember what it feels like to not be fighting." "That sounds exhausting," said Captain Kyung Ho sympathetically. "It is," Telmara admitted, then looked shocked at her own words. The conversation continued for hours. The humans asked endless questions about Dominion culture, history, and technology. They seemed genuinely curious about everything, from alien art to food to family structures. The Dominion officers found themselves talking about things they had not thought about in decades. What did their home worlds look like before the endless wars? What did their people do for fun? What were their dreams and fears? You know, Kralveth said eventually, before we became the Dominion, my people were explorers. We traveled between stars just to see what was out there. What changed? Asked J1. We found other species who were afraid of us. They attacked first, so we defended ourselves. We won, and suddenly we were conquerors. It became easier to take what we needed than to trade for it. And 800 years later, you were still conquering because it was all you knew how to do. Yes, Dr. Li Jin had been right. The Dominion was not evil. They were stuck in a pattern they no longer knew how to break. What happens now? Asked Telmara. That depends, said Admiral J1. What would you like to happen? I do not know. For my entire life, the answer was always, conquer the next target. I have never been asked what I want. Well, you have time to think about it. There is no hurry. Meanwhile, across Dominion space, something unprecedented was happening. The news of the Grand Armada's defeat had spread to every subject world. For the first time in centuries, people were asking questions. If the mighty Dominion could be defeated by 12 human ships, maybe they were not as powerful as everyone thought. Maybe rebellion was possible. On the former Dominion world of Kepler Prime, Governor Zalketh received a message that changed everything. It was from the human Admiral J1, but it was not addressed to the Dominion government. It was addressed to the people of Kepler Prime. The message was simple. Hello, we are humans. We recently had a disagreement with your government, but that is finished now. We would like to meet you and learn about your culture. If you are interested in talking, please let us know. Zalketh stared at the message. In 800 years of Dominion rule, no one had ever asked the subject peoples what they wanted. They were told what to do, and they did it. But now, outsiders were asking them directly, and the outsiders had just proven they were stronger than the Dominion. The response was immediate. Messages poured in from hundreds of worlds. Most were cautious but hopeful. A few were desperate pleas for help. All of them asked the same basic question. Are you really offering us a choice? On Earth, the situation was becoming a major news story, but not in the way anyone expected. The interesting thing, explained Dr. Li Jin in a news interview, is that the humans are not acting like conquerors. They defeated the Dominion, but they are not demanding anything. They are just curious. Is that wise? Asked the news anchor. Should they not be securing their victory? Securing it how? They already proved they can defend themselves. Now, they are trying to understand what they are defending against. The human approach was so unusual that other species were starting to pay attention. For centuries, the galaxy had been divided into two groups, the Dominion and everyone hiding from the Dominion. Now there was a third group, people who were not afraid of the Dominion. Captain Boram commanded the research vessel Inchin's Discovery. Her mission had changed from map unknown space to follow Dominion fleets and see what they do next. It turned out to be fascinating work. They are completely lost, she reported to Earth. We have been watching 3 different fleets for 2 weeks. They are just sitting there. They do not know what to do if they are not attacking someone. Her crew had started treating the Dominion ships like a nature preserve. Biologist Sang Min was taking detailed notes on alien behavior patterns. Look at this, he said, showing Boram his observations. When they receive new orders, they form up in standard attack formation. Then they remember they are not supposed to attack anyone, so they break formation and just drift. It is like they are programmed only for war, said Navigation Officer Yun Seo. Exactly. Take away the war, and they do not know what to do with themselves. The breakthrough came when Captain Boram decided to try something radical. Instead of just watching the confused alien fleet, she sent them a message. Hello, Dominion ships, this is the research vessel Inchin's Discovery. You look bored. Would you like to talk? The response took 3 hours. When it came, it sounded uncertain. Human vessel, are you inviting us to conversation? Yes. We are studying galactic cultures. We would like to learn about yours. But we are enemies, are we? We are not fighting right now. Another long pause. We would like to talk. The first real cultural exchange between humans and Dominion forces happened over sandwiches and coffee, in the Discovery's observation lounge. Captain Boram found herself hosting tea parties with alien warriors who had not had a normal conversation in decades. What do you do for fun? She asked Commander Yelthara. Fun? The alien looked puzzled. We train for battle, we maintain our ships, we study enemy tactics. But what about when you are not working? We are always working. Always. A warrior's duty never ends. Boram's engineer, Jun-Ho, looked up from his sandwich. That sounds horrible. Yelthara considered this. I suppose it does. I had not thought about it that way. What did your people do before they became warriors? Asked biologist Sang-min. We were artists, Yelthara said quietly. We made music that could be heard across star systems. We built crystal cities that caught starlight and turned it into symphonies. That sounds beautiful. It was. But art does not win wars. Maybe, said Captain Boram, the goal should not be winning wars. Maybe the goal should be not having wars. The idea was so simple and so radical that it took the alien commander several minutes to process it. Not having wars, Yelthara repeated slowly. Is that possible? We will find out, Boram said. Emperor Prime Veltar stood alone in his throne room, looking out at the capital city of the Dominion. For 800 years, his empire had grown without stopping. Every year brought new conquests, new subjects, new proof of Dominion power. Now, for the first time in his long life, the empire was shrinking. Your Majesty, said his aide, War Coordinator Thelvas, we have lost contact with 17 subject worlds in the past week. Lost contact? They are no longer responding to our communications. Intelligence suggests they have declared independence. Veltar was silent for a long moment. How many ships do we have left? After the defeats by the humans, approximately 800 vessels remain operational. 800 ships. The Dominion had once commanded over 10,000. Your Majesty, Thelvas continued carefully. The Council recommends we negotiate with the humans. Perhaps we can reach some agreement. No. The Emperor's voice was firm. I will not be the first Emperor to bow to outsiders. Bring me Admiral Corvex. Admiral Corvex commanded the Dominion's most secret fleet, the Planet Killer Squadron. 7 massive ships, each one capable of cracking a world in half. They were the ultimate weapon, held in reserve for the ultimate threat. Your Majesty, Admiral Corvex said when he arrived, the planet killers are ready. But are you certain this is wise? The humans have proven very resourceful. They have defeated our conventional fleets, yes, but they have never faced weapons of mass destruction. When they see us destroy one of their worlds, they will surrender. Thelvas looked nervous. Your Majesty, destroying an entire planet, the other species will see us as monsters. They already fear us. Let them fear us more. The order went out through secret channels. The planet killer fleet would strike at the human colony of New Sol, a peaceful world with 3 million inhabitants. It would be a demonstration of Dominion power that no one could ignore. On Earth, the intelligence services picked up unusual Dominion fleet movements. Deep space sensors detected 7 massive ships moving toward human space. Each ship was larger than anything previously seen. The information reached Admiral J-Wan while he was having lunch with the Dominion officers, who had become unofficial ambassadors. Commander Kralveth and his companions were learning to play human board games, something they found surprisingly relaxing. Excuse me, J-Wan said, reading the urgent message on his tablet. He frowned. Commander Kralveth, what is a planet killer fleet? The alien commander's face went pale. His 3 companions stopped playing their game and looked at each other, with obvious fear. Admiral, Kralveth said slowly, you must evacuate New Sol immediately. What are planet killers? Ships designed to crack planets. They are the Emperor's final threat. If he has activated them, he means to destroy your entire world as an example. The room went very quiet. How long do we have? Asked Admiral Jawan. Perhaps 6 of your hours. Jawan activated his communication system. This is Admiral Jawan to all Terran Defense Force units. We have a Code 7 situation. Planet killer fleet inbound to New Sol. This is not a drill. Across human space, the response was immediate and telling. Instead of panic or desperate evacuation efforts, the Terran Defense Force began deploying with calm efficiency. Captain Yunji commanded the defense grid for the Tau Ceti system, where New Sol was located. When the alert came in, her first action was not to sound general quarters or evacuate civilians. She called a staff meeting. "Okay, people," she said to her senior officers. "We have 7 ships coming to crack our planet. Navigator Young-Soo, what do we know about their capabilities?" According to intelligence, each ship masses approximately 50 million tons. They carry gravity weapons designed to disrupt planetary cores. Weapons Officer Sung Hwan, assessment. Big ships, scary weapons, but the same tactical problems as all Dominion vessels. They are built for intimidation, not for fighting. Good. So we treat this as a technical problem. How do we stop a gravity weapon? The discussion that followed was calm and methodical. These were professionals solving a problem, not soldiers preparing for a desperate last stand. Meanwhile, on New Sol, the civilian population was receiving evacuation advisories, but the response was not what the Dominion expected. Most people were not evacuating. "Honey," said Jin-A to her husband Wu Sung, "did you see the news? Aliens are coming to blow up our planet." "Yes, I saw." "Do you want to evacuate?" Jin-A looked out the window at their garden. They had spent 5 years growing those flowers. "Not really. The Defense Force has never let us down before." "True. And if they fail, evacuating to another planet will not help much anyway. The aliens will just blow that one up too. So we stay? We stay." Similar conversations were happening across New Sol. Some people left, but most stayed. They had seen what the Terran Defense Force could do. They trusted their military to find a solution. The planet killer fleet dropped out of hyperspace exactly on schedule. 7 ships, each one a mobile fortress the size of a small moon. They arranged themselves in a perfect circle around New Sol, their gravity weapons charging with visible energy discharges. Captain Yunji watched them on her tactical display. Well, they certainly know how to make an entrance. The Dominion fleet began broadcasting the standard surrender demand, but this time it was the Emperor himself speaking. "Humans of New Sol, you have witnessed the might of the Dominion planet. Killer fleet. These weapons have the power to shatter your world into fragments. You have 1 hour to evacuate your planet completely, or we will demonstrate our power." Captain Yunji opened a response channel. "This is Captain Yunji of the Terran Defense Force. Emperor Veltar, I presume. Thank you for the demonstration. Very impressive light show. But we are going to have to decline your generous offer to evacuate." "You refuse to evacuate?" "Well, this is our planet. We like it here." There was a pause. "Captain, perhaps you do not understand. We will destroy your entire world." "Yes, you mentioned that. But here is the thing. You brought 7 ships to destroy 1 planet. That seems like overkill. It ensures victory, or it ensures that you have 7 very large targets sitting in predictable positions." The Emperor's voice became angry. "You cannot threaten the planet killer fleet. These ships are invincible, are they? Let us find out." What happened next became legendary in human military history. Captain Yunji did not attack the planet killer fleet directly. Instead, she did something much more creative. "Seung Hwan, target their gravity generators with surgical strikes. Do not try to destroy the ships, just disable their main weapons." "Yes, ma'am." The Terran defense grid came alive. Not with the massive energy discharges that the aliens expected, but with precise, focused beams that found specific targets on each planet killer. The Dominion ships had been built to survive attacks from other massive ships. They were not designed to defend against small, precise strikes aimed at specific components. One by one, the gravity weapons went offline. What? What are you doing? Demanded the Emperor. Disarming you, Captain Yunji replied. You came here to destroy our planet. We are making sure you cannot do that. But our ships are still operational. Yes, but now they are just very large, very expensive transports. Congratulations, you have the most expensive taxi service in the galaxy. The planet killer fleet tried to respond, but their weapons were offline. They tried to ram the human defense platforms, but the platforms were too small and too fast. They tried to retreat, but the human ships followed them, continuing to disable systems. Within 2 hours, the most feared weapons in galactic history had been reduced to helpless hulks. Emperor, Captain Yunji said over the communication channel, your ships are disabled but not destroyed. Your crews are unharmed. Would you like to discuss surrender now? The response was a long time coming. When it finally arrived, the Emperor's voice sounded very old and very tired. How did you do this? Do what? Defeat the planet killers. They have never been defeated. Never. Well, they are very impressive ships. But impressive does not mean invulnerable. Everything can be broken if you know where to hit it. We surrender. Good. Would you like some coffee? You sound like you could use some. The aftermath was swift. News of the planet killer fleet's defeat spread through the galaxy in hours. The Dominion's ultimate weapon, their final threat, had been casually dismantled by human precision engineering. The psychological impact was enormous. If the humans could defeat planet killers, they could defeat anything. Across Dominion space, the remaining subject worlds declared independence. Regional governors announced they were switching sides. Even some core Dominion worlds began asking for negotiations with human representatives. The empire that had ruled for 8 centuries collapsed in 3 days. On the Soul's Pride, Admiral Tejo was meeting with a steady stream of former Dominion officials who wanted to surrender, negotiate, or just ask for advice. The thing I do not understand, said former Governor Kelmuth, is why you are being so kind to us. We tried to destroy your worlds. You were following orders, Tejo replied, and those orders came from fear, not evil. When people are afraid, they make bad decisions. But we were not afraid. We were the Dominion. You were terrified, Tejo said gently. Your entire culture was built on the fear that if you stopped conquering, someone would conquer you. The collapse of the Dominion Empire created the biggest political crisis in galactic history. 847 star systems suddenly had no central government. Some worlds celebrated their freedom. Others panicked, not knowing how to survive without Dominion protection. The humans found themselves in an impossible position. Everyone was asking them for help, but they had never wanted to rule anyone. Ambassador Hyun Woo arrived on the former Dominion capital world 3 weeks after the Emperor's surrender. His job was to help figure out what would replace the Empire. What he found was chaos. The problem, explained former War Coordinator Thelvas, is that we have no experience with self-governance. For 8 centuries, all decisions came from the Emperor. Now there is no Emperor, and no one knows what to do. What do you want to do? Hyunwoo asked. I do not know. We have never been asked that question. It was the same answer Hyunwoo heard everywhere. The Dominion had been so centralized for so long that entire worlds had forgotten how to make their own decisions. This is going to take time, he reported back to Earth. These people need to relearn how to be independent. The solution came from an unexpected source, Tourism Officer Su Jin. You know what? She said during a staff meeting. Maybe we should stop thinking of this as a political problem and start thinking of it as a cultural exchange opportunity. What do you mean? Asked Hyunwoo. Well, we have hundreds of worlds full of interesting people with amazing stories, and we have humans who love to travel and learn about new cultures. Why not put them together? The idea was so simple it was brilliant. Within a month, the first Galactic Heritage Tours were being organized. Former Dominion worlds would host human Tourists who would spend money on local businesses and learn about alien cultures. In return, humans would share their own experiences and help local communities figure out what they wanted to do with their newfound freedom. The program was a massive success. Captain Mi Young commanded the first tour ship to visit the world of Phi, Kepler Prime. Her passengers were a mix of historians, anthropologists, and ordinary humans who just wanted to see alien cities. Their tour guide was former sub-commander Velketh, who had never imagined he would become a tourism professional. "This is our capital city," he explained as the tour group walked through streets that had once been off-limits to outsiders. It was built to demonstrate Dominion power. Everything was designed to make visitors feel small and afraid. "It is beautiful," said tourist Park Jin Young, admiring the towering spires. "But it does feel kind of lonely." Velketh stopped walking. "Lonely? Well, yes. All this grandeur, but no places for people to just sit and talk. No cafes or parks. It is impressive, but not comfortable." The alien guide looked around his city with new eyes. "You are right. We built it to inspire fear, not to make people happy." "What would make people happy?" asked another tourist. I am not sure. We never considered that question. It was conversations like this happening across hundreds of worlds that began to change everything. On Earth, the tourism program was creating unexpected celebrities. Former Dominion War Commander Kethaval had become famous for his brutally honest assessments of imperial history. "Here is where we planned the conquest of the Rigel system," he would tell tour groups, pointing to a massive war room. 15 years of fighting, 3 million casualties, all because we wanted their mining rights. Looking back, we could have just asked to buy them. "Why did you not just ask?" someone would always want to know. "Because we were the Dominion, we took what we wanted." But why? Because that was what we had always done. The questions tourists asked were simple, but they forced former Dominion citizens to think about their history in ways they never had before. Meanwhile, the practical work of rebuilding galactic civilization was happening one conversation at a time. Engineer Myung-soo had been put in charge of salvaging the planet killer fleet. Instead of scrapping the massive ships, he had a different idea. "These ships have the most powerful mining equipment in the galaxy," he explained to his team. "Why waste them?" Within 6 months, former planet killers were being converted into mobile mining platforms. The weapons designed to crack worlds were now being used to extract resources from asteroids and dead planets. Former Admiral Korvex, who had commanded the planet killer fleet, found himself working as a mining consultant. "It is strange," he confided to engineer Myung-soo over coffee. "These ships were built to destroy, now they are building things." "Is that bad?" "No, it is, peaceful. I had forgotten what peace felt like." The transformation was happening everywhere. Former Dominion military officers were becoming tour guides, teachers, and business consultants. Their knowledge of galactic politics and logistics made them valuable advisors to the new independent governments. The biggest success story was the world of Andros Prime, where former Governor Kelmeth had decided to try something radical: democracy. "The East humans keep talking about letting people choose their own leaders," he explained to his advisors. "Maybe we should try it." The first elections in Andros Prime's history were a disaster. Nobody knew how to campaign, vote, or count ballots. The results were confusing and probably wrong, but the people loved it. "We got to choose," said one citizen, interviewed by human news crews. "For the first time in our lives, someone asked us what we wanted." The second election went much better. By the third, Andros Prime had developed its own political parties and campaign traditions. Other worlds watched and began holding their own elections. Some chose democracy, others preferred councils of elders or professional administrators. The important thing was that they got to choose. Admiral Taeho, now commanding the joint Human-Dominion exploration fleet, reflected on how quickly everything had changed. "A year ago, they were trying to conquer us," he said to Commander Kralveth, who had become his second in command. "Now we are exploring together." "It is still strange for me," Kralveth admitted. "My entire life was about war. Now I am learning to explore just for the sake of learning. Do you miss it? The war? Kralveth thought for a long moment. No. War was simple. There was always an enemy to fight, a world to conquer. But it was also empty. We conquered 800 worlds, but we never really learned about any of them. And now? Now we are learning about everything. It is much more interesting. The success of the cultural exchange program had an unexpected side effect. Other species started joining in. The Zanari Federation, which had been hiding from the Dominion for 3 centuries, sent their first diplomatic mission to meet the humans. The rock people of Titan's Edge opened their crystal cities to tourists for the first time in history. Even the mysterious void dwellers who lived in deep space and rarely contacted anyone sent messages asking if they could participate in the Galaxy Learning Project. Dr. Li Jin, now a famous expert on comparative galactic cultures, was appointed as the first director of interspecies studies. What we are seeing, she explained in a lecture to the Galactic Council, is the emergence of a true galactic community. Not an empire based on fear, but a network based on curiosity. How is this different from previous attempts at galactic unity? Asked a delegate from the Spiral Alliance. Previous attempts were based on control. Someone was always in charge, making decisions for everyone else. This system is based on voluntary cooperation. Nobody has to participate, but everyone wants to, because it is fun. Fun. It was such a simple concept, but it had never been tried on a galactic scale before. The formal establishment of the galactic community happened on the first anniversary of the Dominion's defeat. Representatives from over 200 worlds gathered on the neutral station New Geneva to sign the founding charter. The document was surprisingly short. It established basic principles: voluntary membership, peaceful dispute resolution, and mutual assistance in times of need. But the most important clause was the simplest. All members agreed to approach problems with curiosity rather than fear. Admiral Tejo was asked to make the opening speech at the signing ceremony. "A year ago," he said, "we met the Dominion Empire at the edge of human space. They came to conquer us. We came to explore. The difference between those two goals has made all the difference. Today, we are not founding an empire or a federation or any kind of government. We are founding a community, a place where beings from across the galaxy can meet, learn from each other, and work together on problems that are too big for any one species to solve alone. We do not promise that this will be easy. Different species will have different ideas about how to do things, but we promise to approach those differences with curiosity, not fear." The signing ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy. Billions of beings watched as former enemies put their names on the same document. But perhaps the most important moment came afterward, during the reception. Engineer Wu Jin, now running the Interspecies Engineering Exchange Program, was showing a group of former Dominion technicians how to operate human coffee machines. "The secret," he explained, "is not to overthink it. Just push the button and see what happens." Former war engineer Thelcora pressed the button nervously. Perfect coffee poured into her cup. "It worked," she said, surprised. "Most things do if you give them a chance," Wu Jin replied. Across the reception hall, similar scenes were playing.